Yo, we're ready. Let's do this. Jeff Nadeau, Pub Sports Radio. We're not going to spend too much time bullshitting or making any jokes. We got a lot of shit to cover, a lot of important shit to cover. But of course, this is the very first Saturday morning college football show the big man on campus and I have started to do again. I'm looking forward to it. Very excited for it. As of right now, we're going to cover 10 games in depth, and then I guess we'll just do a grab all, catch all from the rest of the card. Jeff Nadeau will go to 11 a.m. unless Eastern time, unless you want to go further, and we're allowed to. So it should be a good show. Jeff, how you feeling? How you feeling about this today's college football card? Pretty good.
It feels like it's been weeks. I've been looking at these games. I'm ready to get going, Peter. I'm ready to get going.
Let's go into it. The first thing I do have to mention, though, a lot of these massive line moves turned out to be totally wrong, right? Exhibit A, Hawaii yesterday. Keep that in mind. UTEP, Jacksonville State. Just so many I can't even remember them all right now. So that's been pretty interesting. A lot of these huge line moves, people beating the line moves by a touchdown or more, wind up with losing bets. So let's get into it. Jeff Nadeau, the first game that you wanted to talk about, Rice and Texas. Obviously, high expectations for Texas here. Texas should steamroll them. I'm assuming you're going to say you like Texas. I agree with it, and I think much better. I would be liking Texas first half. I already bet that minus 21. Is that what you like here? Jeff Nadeau, big man on campus.
I definitely think Texas is the play if you like and you want to lay aside. But I look at this game and I ask myself, can Rice score? And I feel like they can a little bit. I look at their quarterback, JT Daniels. I'm sure you've heard that name before. He was at Georgia at one point, West Virginia. He's really moved around. I'm willing to think maybe they can score a little bit in this game. I don't know if they're going to have to do much of it. I think Texas probably the high 40s, we would think. I think Rice can give them 14. I look sometimes whenever I'm playing, and I think I've mentioned this to you, I've mentioned to other people. When you have a team that can score the football, like a Texas, like a USC, when I look at the other side, can the quarterback move the ball? I'm willing to believe JT Daniels can. He's faced Texas before. He's faced this caliber of defense before. I'm willing to think he can move the ball. I think they can score a little bit. I kind of like the over here a bit as well.
Really? Okay, so your play on this one would be the over, not Texas or the Texas team total or anything like that.
I mean, 35.5 is hard because now we're dealing with 5 touchdowns. I don't think Rice is that bad. I think they're okay. The problem is, look, I've seen Rice, though, play a group like USC last year and get beat, I think, 66-14 or something. That said, though, they have a better quarterback this year. I just think the over is the play. I think in these kind of games, instead of just taking the 35, look, to take the 35, they're going to have to score. They're going to have to stay in the game. So 14, 17 points. I think if they do that, the game goes over. So I'm just going to take the over.
So if you had a free play, you could have first half over 32 or Texas first half minus 21. Which would you take? First half over 30. You take Texas minus 21 first half.
Yeah, I think this is probably like a 31-7, something like that. Probably. I look, Texas isn't going to have trouble moving the football. They may get to 50. They may get to 55. I mean, I just think the overall best play is the game over, just because of
Yeah, Nadeau liking the over. Current line is 58.5. I was liking Texas first half minus 21, and I guess we can let's check the quick line moves here. I don't even remember where the hell. There's so many friggin' games. Where'd this line open? It's like 58.5 right now.
I want to say right around there.
Yeah, it looks like it hasn't moved. Yeah, it hasn't moved much as far as the. Let me see. For as far as the total is concerned, no significant line moves as opposed to many other games where you've seen huge, touchdown or more, line moves to the under, which in certain cases have cashed, in other cases have not. Let's move on. Jeff Nadeau, the next game that I want to talk about. Look, I beat a bunch of line moves. I was huge on Hawaii last night. I got him at +7. Didn't matter. Huge loss with that. This is another game where I beat a line move. Not sure what I'm thinking about it now. I did take Bowling Green at 10 and 10.5. Now I think it's all the way down to 8. Bowling Green, of course, they made a bowl last year, improving, and Liberty is, of course, a great team, but they tend to play, one-score games when they get their wins. And so I took Bowling Green plus the points. I'm on the closer we get to 12 noon. I'm thinking that maybe I'll hedge out of it like I should have done. Maybe, I guess, with Stanford last night. Does feel like a Liberty win, less than a touchdown. That's what I bet. I got a good number. What do you think about that bet?
This is why Peter Loshak has been doing this so long, because he got a number at 10.5 and it's now 8.5. And you look at this number. Hear me out though. Liberty is not. I don't think they're the Liberty of the year or two ago. I think they're a solid little football team, but I also think Bowling Green's okay. Connor Bazalic is a nice quarterback. They went bowling last year, which was surprising. I think there's a lot to rebuild on from last year. They bring a lot of kids back. They're going to throw the football. I think they can stay in games like that. And again, when you see a number drop from 10.5 to 8.5, you're dropping through 10, you're coming down. Yeah, I like this one. I think you have a good play here. I would stick with it. You got a great price. You got to kind of stick with what works for you. Look, I'm surprised to why I lost. I thought that was a great spot emotionally, just kind of everything that rolled into it. And then they go out and they just get spanked by a bad team. Yeah, I like this one. I'm on the side with you. I think this is probably a game decided within a touchdown. And again, Bazalic, another kid that can move the football. They have a new coach at Liberty as well. That could take a little time to get used to. Their new coach is he was a guy that was at Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, like last night, as soon as that line moved to 2.5, I was like, I'm just gonna write this a loser. I've seen this so many times, so I'm fucking I don't have the balls to hedge it back. And I know it's a loser. All right, this one, I guess for now, I will stick with Bowling Green with my number. It's heading down. It's heading down. Scary to bet against Liberty. It's just Liberty. Also, just like, go ahead.
You're on the side of the smart people, right? If I'm betting this game and I'm seeing this, I'm thinking, wow, this is awesome. I've got the best price possible, and it's coming down. Look, people aren't betting Bowling Green. That are like betting public's not betting Bowling Green. That's sharp money. That's smart people coming in and taking BG. I think it's probably too many. I think it's probably like a 31-24 type of game, something like that.
Right. I was thinking, even maybe a lower scoring game than that, like, I don't know, 27-20 or something like that. It's just Liberty is that we know that they're at home. As a favorite, they tend to cover. They're a tough team, but, maybe this is a different situation. First game of the year. All right, let's move on. Jeff Nadeau, what's your second game that I have here? Oh, right. Okay. UTSA Houston. Obviously last year's game was incredible. UTSA comes in here loaded again and with revenge on their minds. There has been a significant move in UTSA's favor since opening. I can understand why they weren't a favorite to start. Now they are a favorite. It just when you think about the script way of breaking down these games, it has UTSA winning this one written all over it. Is that what you like here? Jeff Nadeau.
Yeah, I played this. I have to admit, I played this a few days ago when the money line was 115. I took UTSA.
Right.
Look, I think in this case, I really just want to have to win the game. I think at this late hour, it's hard to lay 2, but I would still do it. I think UTSA gets the job done. I bet the money line. I'm going to make that clear. This is, as you said, a major revenge game, right? They lose last year, 3 overtime. This is the best team in this conference. And remember, Houston is no longer in the American. They're in the Big 12 now. This is a different conference. But UTSA is the best team in the American Athletic Conference. They've got a quarterback in Frank Harris who's back, defense that's really good, and plenty of weapons on offense. I also look at what Houston lost last year. I didn't think their defense was very good. And this is a major point for me. I do not like Dana Holgorsen. I don't think he's a good football coach. I think they're poorly coached a lot of the time. I think UTSA has a major coaching advantage. And this, Peter, look at this. If I'd have told you a year or two ago that UTSA would be a favorite on the road in Houston, that's not normal. That doesn't happen very often. Houston's always kind of been that bigger end type of team compared to San Antonio. They've got a great fan base. They'll travel. This should be a great game. But I like UTSA. I think they get some revenge here.
I agree. I agree with you on Holgerson, and I also agree with you on who Houston quarterback Donovan Smith was kind of overrated. Not that Holgerson is a bad coach, but he tends to be overrated. Donovan Smith, I felt like was that a bit for Texas Tech. His grades aren't that great, and which is not to say that Houston won't have some value and won't win some nice games and covers this year. But this just has UTSA written all over it. I already bet this one myself on UTSA. Big man on campus. What do you think about the total? You think it's about right on? I was thinking maybe UTSA team total over as well.
This is why these odds makers can be so good at times, because I had this at first to 30 wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how it was last year. I think it was 37, 34 or something. I mean, it was, it ended up going to overtime. But if you watch, and that's something I'd highly recommend folks do, go back and watch some, especially these games where you have another game this year. Watch the game last year, see what happened. That's what I noticed. I would think it's first to 30. I'd lean over. Both these teams have solid quarterbacks. Frank Harris is dynamic. They're going to move the ball. I'm curious to see how good UTSA's defense is this year. I think defensively they're better as well. And that's kind of something I have my eye on. But yeah, we should see points, probably first to 30 wins.
Yeah, I mean, Houston returns a lot of guys, a lot of starters on defense, which may not be a good thing, right? It wasn't a good defense last year,
Right. That's the problem. They were a bad defense, so that's not a good thing a lot of the time.
Yeah, I definitely already bet UTSA, and I would be leaning UTSA team total over as well. All right, let me see. What's the? I can't even remember what the next game that I wanted to hold on.
Kentucky, right?
Huge. It's let me see. Yeah, let me see. Where is it? There's that one, and then right. South Florida and Western Kentucky. Yeah, this is another one like the Bowling Green game where I thought I liked something, but now I'm thinking, USF. It's kind of like an over in South Florida, and now I'm thinking that I'm still liking the over a bit, but more so the Western Kentucky team total over. I don't think that regardless of what happens in this game, USF is probably not going to be able to stop Western Kentucky. I saw it as like more likely a single digit decision and lean to the over. So I do have a bet on South Florida, which I'm now feeling very uncomfortable about. The Western Kentucky passing attack is at home in the first game of the year. I don't think USF is going to be able to stop them, and they probably won't let up on the gas. So now I'm thinking I might hedge out, if not by taking Western Kentucky minus the points, just taking the Western Kentucky team total over. What do you think about this game? Once again, my initial bet on this one was on South Florida and lean to the over. Now I'm thinking I'm on the wrong side here.
I think I would want to just neutralize Western Kentucky's offense and not worry about anything else. Because I would be curious to know, and I don't have their double-digit favorite numbers over the last several years, but I'd have to imagine they're not great. This is generally not a team that has a very good defense. Always seems like they play in a lot of 41-38 type of games. That's the reason that number's so high. Look, South Florida, I don't think is as much a doormat as they used to be. Look, I don't think they're very good, but I think they have a capable quarterback in Jerry Bohannon, and that's why I'm a little concerned. I think West Kentucky just isolating the offense. They're going to throw the football a lot. That's all they do. It's always all they've ever done. Austin Reed, one of the better actual pure quarterbacks in the country. I think that's where I'd go if I were you. Having to cover 12.5 at West Kentucky, I think could be something you're on the fucking edge of your seat with, because they don't seem to ever stop anybody.
Yeah, and now the line, just as I was worried about, the line is now moving back in Western Kentucky's favor. I'm almost certainly going to hedge out of this one and leaning team total of over 41.5 for Western Kentucky. Very, very tempting.
Keep in mind, real quick, over the last 3 or 4 seasons, both these teams have been significantly profitable going over the total. Right? They're both in the top. Yeah. They're both in the top, I believe, 25 in the college football. So, I think if you like South Florida, you have to lean probably over. If you like West Kentucky, lean under, I would think. Because if this is under, it's 45-13. That's
Right,
what
right,
I
right,
think.
right. Right. All right. So, I think I'm going to go and take a shot with the Western Kentucky team total over 41.5. Let's quickly glance the comment section. Big man on campus. Let's see. Tim Leach got Fresno +6. We'll talk about that maybe
Wow.
in a moment. We're looking at Dabby Cab in the comments. What'd you say?
That's a great number, Tom Leach. That's a great number.
Yeah. It means almost nothing. No, it doesn't mean almost nothing first week in college football, but definitely doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to win or that you necessarily got a positive. Well, I guess it does mean you got a positive bet. But all right, let's see. What else do we have? People talking about UNC. Yeah, Tom Leach likes UTSA money line. Definitely. Wow, BJ absolutely loves South Carolina tonight, guys. Well, we can talk about that in a moment. That game I am completely agnostic on as of right now. Dabby Cab got UTSA money line. I think that might be the best bet that we've talked about so far. Big man on campus. Let's see. And Tom Leach likes to live bet Liberty. He says live bet Liberty anything under 6. Yeah, and UTSA. If UTSA is down 7-0 to start the game, that might be a great live bet as well. Let's see. What else do we have here? All right.
You mentioned a game. Your game you like, Kentucky, Ball State. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. That's not one of the ones I chose, but you can mention it. Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, I just want to mention a trend, and you have a couple of those today. You have Kentucky, Ball State. You have Buffalo, Wisconsin. Peter, I am done with MAC teams against the Power 5. I'm done with it. I've had it. I knew last night. I knew in the back of my head, you're betting a MAC team against a Power 5 team. What the fuck are you doing? And of course, I was wrong with Central Michigan. I'm done with it. They cannot play in the game. They're just not good against Power 5 opponents. It's something I've noticed. Miami of Ohio struggled last night against a Power 5 opponent. I'm thinking at this point, they're just a fade. And I'm going to tell you right now, Kentucky is really good. I love Devin Leary. That defense is always strong. Ball State, I think, has major trouble here. And look, I think Wisconsin, Peter, that offense is going to go from being stuck in the 90s. You talk about a total change. They're going to be fast. They're going to be throwing the football a ton, Wisconsin. They have a new quarterback, a new coach. I think both these teams could really, really have some success today. And again, it's the MAC struggles in these games. They just do.
Yeah. Tom Leach saying Ball State team total under Kentucky -25. I will tell you, big man on campus. Yeah, I had Miami of Ohio as well. One bet that I did make late though, I took Temple over Akron in that another MAC fade. Absolutely, 10 points is not, and Temple is obviously not a team you want to be laying double digits with for no reason. But I agree with you. I think that a team like Akron is more likely than not to lose by double digits. Yeah, you're right. Until further notice, the MAC. Although I guess we could talk about the Toledo game. That's one where I was leaning Toledo as well. But that's a little bit different situation going up against a team like that.
Yeah, I think in this case, if you look at this line as well, sharp money's come in and taken Illinois. I just think you have to start looking and saying, look, it's a fun conference and they all play each other, the MAC, but they just really struggle in this sort of situation. Yeah. Now, I will say you're right. Toledo is the best team in the MAC. I'm just kind of looking at this Toledo-Illinois game and saying, this is the first of 20 wins, I think. Why not just play the under? Toledo's going to struggle.
Yeah, I do like the under. Absolutely.
Illinois might be the best defense in the country yet again. And
right.
I mean, I like Toledo's defense as well. So that could be a really ugly 20-13, 21-10 type of game.
Yeah, absolutely. I do like the under, and I am going to bet the Illinois team total under for sure. All right, Jeff Nadu, the third game that you identified specifically, an interesting one, another big favorite, Texas State against Baylor. Of course, Baylor has that vicious running game, hard to stop. I'm assuming that, well, I don't know. Yeah, I'm assuming you'd like Baylor here again, or maybe you like the under. But either Baylor or the under is what you like here.
Yeah, I will say I think we have the wrong total there on the board on this game on our graphic. I think it's 59, not 49, just to make clear. But look, Peter, before the season started, I identified Texas State as an over team all season. And I want to explain why. They hired a coach, G.J. Kinney. He was the coach last year at, guess where, Peter? Incarnate Word, a little school outside of San Antonio. They had the best offense in America, 52 points a game.
I was betting on them last year multiple times. Absolutely, for sure.
They were,
yeah.
Peter, they had one.
They were a great bet. FCS, yes.
They scored 70 in one half. It was crazy. I've never seen that before. Now he comes to Texas State. They're going to ramp the tempo up. They're not good defensively. They may be the worst defense team in America. Baylor might score 50 themselves, 60 themselves. But I think Texas State's going to be on the front foot constantly. This reminds me a lot of USC San Jose last week, where USC comfortably won the game. But, Texas State found a way to score 24, 26, something like that. I don't really know why this number's coming down. It definitely scares me, the total. I think at one point it was a 61, 62. Now it's back down a little bit. It's been a lot of move here, but I think it's like 48, 27. I'm going over.
Yeah, there have definitely been big moves to the under that have been clearly wrong so far this season. My guess would be maybe that, when you have a team like Texas State, they can sort of like impose their will a little bit against teams where they're not outclassed, but that Baylor's just going to dominate them. Maybe they won't even try offensively, and there'll be a lot of running, and it'll be a blowout win for Baylor, but sneak under a high total. I'm just thinking out loud here, Jeff.
And that's the concern. Like, this is 41-10, right? That's the major concern. I'm just banking on the fact that they're going to have a lot of the ball in garbage time. Baylor's going to be up significantly. If Baylor gets to, let's say, 48, I think they find the game over. That said, I think to address your reason to why the games have been going lower as far as totals have been going under or moving under but going over, people are just believing in this clock stopping or not stopping. Right. I don't think it has much bearing, to be fair.
Yeah, we'll certainly see, as we get more data points. Jeff Nadeau. All right, so your pick on that one would be for the over in the Baylor game.
Yes, over.
All right. The third game that I wanted to talk about, another interesting one where the line so far has moved in my favor. I think this one I'm feeling a little bit better about is Washington State, Colorado State, right? Clearly in years past, Colorado State has been a team that as a home dog has often gotten blown out. They got blown out in their last matchup against Washington State. This is a little bit of a different year, though. Colorado State is better, I think, than they have been in years past, at least in terms of, at least on paper, heading into week one. That's how it looks. As a double-digit dog against Washington. They're also playing an air raid offense, so they're presumably going to be better prepared for Washington State coming in here defensively. And I took a shot with Colorado State. I took a few shots. I don't remember the first line I got or the last one, but I got at least, I think, 12 or 12 and a half on all of my bets. And last time I checked, it was down to 10 and a half. I'll check right now to see where it is right now. Very, very tempting. Very nervous. Makes me very nervous to take, Colorado State as a big home dog, because a lot of times they have no, in a lot of situations, no home field advantage, and they get absolutely demolished by teams that outclass them, even at home, and lose ATS by double digits, even when they're a double-digit home dog. But I took them in this spot. What do you think, Jeff?
I liked what I saw out of Colorado State in the last couple of games of the season. Norvell as a coach, when he was at Nevada, they were bad in the first season. And then the second season, we saw a major turnaround. And that's exactly what I think you're going to see from Colorado State. Their quarterback, Clay Millen, Peter, had the top completion percentage in the country last year. And the reason for that is they want to run, or they want to throw the ball a lot. Air raid offense. Again, this is very similar to that first game we talked about with Bowling Green. Two very similar teams. I think they're going to throw the football a lot. And I just don't trust Washington State in laying double digits. I think they're a decent team, but they don't blow me away. I've seen 9.5 as well, and Dan Kelly made that point. This isn't one coming down. I think if you can find 10.5 still, you got to jump on board. Colorado State, I think you see a nice little move from this year. I think they could be a bowl-eligible type of team.
Yeah, based on all the reports that I've read, they should be an improved team. You're right. I like the coach with a little bit of time under his belt, and a little time to. And I also kind of like the under here. And I still think that right now the Washington State team total 33.5 minus 114 to the under. I think that might be a nice play as well. Washington State team total under 33.5 minus 114. I kind of like that more than. Go ahead. Yeah.
Let me just explain again when you're coming into a new season. Identifying it looks like you have a team that had a strong end to the season. Colorado State over the last 5 games had almost 100 yards more per game They were significantly higher scoring, significantly higher point yards per play. Just a group that I think really rebounded, and I think this is an exciting game. I mean, Peter, would you be surprised if they won this game? I wouldn't be that surprised. I mean, I think Colorado State has a real shot here.
I'd be a little surprised if they won it outright. No, I'm kidding around, Jeff Nadeau. I wouldn't be surprised by anything I see in college football. But yeah, I think that, and I like the under. Washington State had bad passing explosiveness numbers last year, and Colorado State had good defensive passing explosiveness numbers as well. I'm thinking that might be a great bet, even better than Colorado State plus the points. Washington State team total under 33.5 minus 114. And yeah, again, I'm sorry.
That's a lot of points for them to score. I had this I had this quite fairly at like 27-20. I think that's too many points.
And also, when you're talking about like a team doing better at the end of the year, sometimes that can be fluky. But when it's at the end of the year with a first-year coach who you expect to make improvements with mediocre teams, then I think that's even more significant than just a random improvement at the end of the year. You know what I mean?
And remember, that is in a league that is pretty good. I mean, the Mountain West is pretty good. I mean, we're not dealing with listen, Colorado State had limited talent last year with a first-year coach. To improve that good much, I think is impressive.
No, absolutely, and I trust Norvell's words about the improvements that he thinks in terms of the personnel that the team has made. All right, so I still, I guess, like Colorado State at 9.5, but I would significantly prefer for a bet right now if you can get a team total on Washington State under 33 and 33.5, which is right now the line at Pinnacle. All right, next up for you, big man on campus, Oregon State and San Jose State. This is a tough one. I've looked at it. Not sure what to make of it. And I mean, this is on Sunday, obviously, not today. It goes tomorrow. What do you think about that one? Why'd you pick that game?
This is one that I'm just intrigued by. I think coming into the season, I don't know. I'm a bit surprised. I mean, do you look at Oregon State and think, wow, this is like a top 15-ish team in America? I was a bit surprised by that. But then when you kind of look at them, you say, well, they're really well coached. Their quarterback, DJ Uiagalelei, who was at Clemson. I think sometimes you need a change of scenery. I think in that offense, with that coach, he's going to be a dynamic player. And I look at that defense. They lost some kids last year. What did we see from San Jose in the first game? They can't stop Peter, you, me, and 9 listeners. And they have a good quarterback. I don't know. Again, another number coming down. I think this over is interesting. I think San Jose is going to be an interesting over team all season because they have that dynamic quarterback in Chevin Cordero that, if he's down, let's say 20, he's going to still throw the football. I think this game probably shakes out pretty similarly to their first game. I don't think it's going to be as high scoring, but I kind of thought this number was a little low total-wise.
Yeah, it's my read on Oregon State. My plan for them is just to look at whatever happens in week 1 and then wildly overreact in week 2 and week 3. Take a couple losing bets, and then in week 4, reconsider the whole situation. So, what do you like here? You like an Oregon State or the over?
I like the over.
You like the over in this one? All right. Right now, it's let's see where it is. Right now. Let me see. What would you have? Do you have a line right now on this one? Yeah, 54. Go ahead.
54, yep.
Go ahead, Jeff. All right. Okay, sorry, let's move on.
We're delayed a little bit here.
Oh, are we? Okay, all right, okay. So let's look at the Tom Leach likes San Jose State ATS, which you presumably would not necessarily disagree with.
No. I think Oregon State is an interesting team, but again, I'm curious to see and that's hard. That's another hard spot with the overs. Uiagalelei, how good will he look? Is he just a bad quarterback? I guess it could be possible. We saw that with Graham Mertz, who was at Wisconsin, then went to Florida. Presumably struggled in both. Didn't really matter.
Yeah. All right, next game that I have chosen is one that Kirk Gray, he likes Penn State minus 20. We're talking about a huge game, Penn State, West Virginia. I'm pretty high on Penn State this year, big man on campus, even though they came in with everyone rating them pretty highly. I thought that the initial ratings were maybe not quite strong enough. I'm high on this team right now. We'll see what happens in terms of injuries as the season progresses, but I think the defense is great. I did take a shot with the under. I got 52. I'm not lying about that. I'm a little bit nervous about it right now that it's moved so much, but I'm liking a lot more though. Just Penn State, I would take them full game, first half at anything less than 13. And maybe the West Virginia team total under full game as well. Like in the under, like in Penn State first half, like in West Virginia team total under, like in Penn State in general. That's my take on this one. Do you disagree with any of that, big man on campus?
No, I don't. I live not too far. I live in this area. I've heard a lot of people say that Penn State could lead the country this year in that metric of havoc on defense.
Right.
They're very, as usual, they're very stout on that side of the ball. But Peter, I think there's a reason to be more excited about Penn State than normal. Drew Aller, this kid could be, for a team that never has a good quarterback, seemingly, I think they could have a star here. He's young, he's tough, and West Virginia's roster is bad. This is a bad West Virginia roster. It's not a number you'd probably see 3 or 4 years ago, but Westfall's bad. I think Neil Brown's in a lot of trouble there as a coach. You got to go into Beaver Stadium. It's going to have 100,000 people there. What time's this game start? 7:30. And Peter, I'm looking at a tweet at Beaver Stadium 3 hours ago, 7 a.m. Lots are now open. 12 hours before the game, lots are open already. Look, there's going to be a lot of people there. This is going to be a raucous atmosphere. I think Penn State could win 41-13. I think they roll here. I agree with you.
As far as, we haven't really quoted lines here. Maybe we will at the end, but definitely official plays for me would be definitely West Virginia team total under. I'm seeing 14.5 minus 125 current line at Pinnacle. Definitely would like that as an official play, under 14.5 minus 125. And I guess I like Penn State full game and first half equally. Is there any reason not to? They're not going to take the foot off the gas. To win by 21 isn't even really necessarily putting your foot on the gas, is it?
I think this is one of those situations where, and we've seen them before, where a team is just completely hamstrung and can't move the ball because Penn State's defense is extremely suffocating. They're always good. I don't know if it's going to matter too much. I think they're just going to be submitted and they're going to have trouble just staying in the game.
Any reason to believe that the hype with this quarterback is inflated, or you think it's a real deal?
Well, I guess listen, when James Franklin's your coach, I guess that's possible. Like you talk about a guy that just has no idea what he's doing. But yeah, I guess it's possible. Again, we never really know. But I do want to say this. There's a lot of familiar names I see in this chat from many years ago.
Hell yeah.
Hello to all of you. It's been like Native Queen. I remember her from long ago.
There you go, Native Queen. We can take a couple of seconds out and clap for her. Native Queen likes Penn State first quarter.
Yes. I see who else was he? Deer Slayer. I've seen him before. Nasty Nate. He's still up. He's still in here misbehaving, I see. But it's good to see him. A lot of people in here. Wow. Crazy.
Tom Leach says, had Stanford minus 2.5 at numbers, not teams. Right. I'm going to go to my spreadsheet and write Hawaii +7 win. I don't care.
Did Tom Leach lose this weekend? It hasn't seemed like he's lost yet.
No, you're right. Look, when that went to 2.5, I was just like, I should just rip up the ticket now. Shout out to Native Queen. Hell yeah. Trap God says, Big Man and Loshak, what a great duo. Thank you very much, Trap God. So far we got UTSA we're both liking. The Washington State team total under. Jeff Nadeau agrees with that. Penn State to dominate any which way you want to bet it. I am going to bet it 3 ways. I'm going to bet first half, full game. Is any reason? Yeah, I'm not going to fish for reasons to hedge out of my bets. First half, full game, and West Virginia team total under. And all right. Let's see what else we got. All right. So the last specific game that you wanted to discuss here, Big Man on Campus, Clemson at Duke. Clemson 13.5 point favorite, 55.5. Obviously. I tend to think of Clemson as, in general, more likely than not to be overvalued on any given game, but I don't have the balls usually to bet against them. I'm going to look into this a little bit closer on Monday, maybe. First, I want to hear what you have to say. Why'd you pick this game, Big Man on Campus?
Because there's probably not a team in America I'm higher on than Clemson.
Mhm.
I think
Right.
I think Cade Klubnik having that year, this is his team now, new offensive coordinator. I love Clemson. I'm really high on this team. We haven't seen them for the last year or two. They've just kind of been mired in bad quarterback play. We always know they're going to have a strong defense. They're well coached under Dabo Sweeney. You also look at this number. I mean, this has been significantly bet up. This is the type of team that I want to lay double digits with, not a West Kentucky, not a Washington State, a Clemson. I mean, Peter, this just seems like a standalone game where you have a really good team generally against an upstart team that people like last year a little bit. Duke was pretty good against the number a lot of the time, but I think Clemson just kind of takes it to them, and win like 34-14. I think they put in a really good defensive performance, and I like Klubnik. I think he is a significantly better quarterback than the individual they had there previously.
Native Queen says she's with me on all those plays, Pete. That's even better than getting CLV, as far as I'm concerned. If I have CLV, that's great. But if Native Queen is on the plays with me, that makes me feel even better. All right, so you're taking, so you're liking Clemson here, minus 13.5, huh?
Yeah, I don't want to go much higher than this. I mean, this one has been
Right.
bet up and bet up. And remember, this doesn't go till Monday. It's only Saturday, so you have a couple of days here. But I felt like it'd be a game we want to talk about, just kind of that standalone. Peter, we got to talk about Colorado TCU. I've seen more people.
We'll talk about that in one moment. I have one quick question for you, okay, Jeff? Perhaps could I interest you in a team total in this Clemson? If you're leaning over, maybe you'd like the Clemson team total over 34.5. If you're leaning under, maybe you'd like Duke team total under 21.5 more than Clemson minus the points.
It's very correlated. It's very cool. And when you look at Clemson, I think one of the strong things you got to look at this year with this team, I think you have to put the last 2 years out of your head. They just didn't have good quarterback play. I thought it was better last year, and that was kind of something to keep an eye on. But I think Klubnik just way better than he was. Yeah, I think they continue to take a higher level offense and keep it moving forward. Yeah, I think they get to 35. Sure.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. And then let me just hold on. And then I have one final game here that we're going to talk about. Then we'll talk about the TCU game. We got to go get to the 10 games that we wanted to talk about. This one, again, another one. I took another big road dog in week 1 where the line has moved in my favor. I don't know what I think about it. Sam Houston against BYU. I forgot what I got. I think I got 20 or something. Now it's down to like 18 or wherever it is, 18.5. Sam Houston, of course, had a great defense in the FCS ranks. How much will that translate into, the FBS and going here on the road against BYU? I think it'll be okay. There's also some injuries on defense for BYU. I really don't like to bet against BYU, especially at home week 1. But the line just struck me as way too high, so I bet it. And right now it's probably like 18.5 or something. Talk to me, big man on campus. Talk to me about this one. Sam Houston against BYU.
Yeah, this number struck me as a bit high too. What do we really know about these teams coming into FBS? We saw Jacksonville State last week, and they looked great, but that was against UTEP, right? This is a little bit different animal. Now you're playing a pretty damn good BYU team. Always well coached, always good offensively. You know what I worry about with this game, Peter? It kind of strikingly is similar to Navy Notre Dame for some reason.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm kind of taking, I'm not getting a good number, right? It's 19. It's not 21. It's not 22. It's 19, right? So if I'm going to get involved here, I need to get into the 20s, and I'm just not going to have that. So I got to know what I'm going to get at Sam Houston first. It's kind of a pass for me. Sorry.
Take a wild friggin' guess what side I had in that one, Jeff Nadeau. Yeah, I had
Sam Houston.
I had Navy. Probably got a good number.
Oh,
I don't know. No, in the Navy.
I'll tell you right
now,
Peter. I had Navy too. I mean, it was one of the bad plays that I've made the last 10 days. What are you gonna do?
All right, so I guess, but we can just go into a corner and be like, well, we were on the right side with all the other smart people. Great, fuck it. All right, so this one, I don't know.
When we went to the cashier, they didn't cash the bet in, so we lost. That's how that
No,
By the way, look at this. Sean Higgs, $150 donation. Sean Higgs used to do videos with you, Peter, back in the day. Wow, that's a blast.
Oh man,
Jeff. Slaughter's dropping memberships. Gorgian, Gorgian is a fan of I believe of me, so he's here for me. I think. Thank you for it.
I hung out with Sean Higgs at Bet Bash. That was fun as hell. I have one hilarious video that I will drop at some point. When freaking the college football intensity ends, or maybe I'll just drop it on Sunday. Huge shout out to Sean Higgs. Let's hang out again very, very soon. That was fun as hell. All right. God. Lucas R says very low on BYU this year. D got even worse. I think I'll just hold my my Sam Houston play. What do you think?
Peter, hold your line. Hold the line here. Trust your handicap. Okay. Come on, Peter.
Okay. Oh, gosh.
Peter.
Yeah, they do. All right. So the 10 games we talked about, those are the specific games that we wanted to cover. We'll go over everything in the last 5 minutes of the show, all the important points that we talked about. But yeah, the TCU Colorado game, that's an interesting one. I'll just tell you right now, Jeff Nadeau, I'm a little bit thinking that maybe TCU is a little bit maybe overrated and overvalued this year. I'm not saying that's going to happen in this particular game, at home against Colorado. But in general, I'm looking for TCU to be maybe a little bit overrated and overvalued this year. I would not want either side in this one. I guess if you gave me a free play on it right now, I guess I'd put it on TCU. But in general, I have them pegged and circled as likely to be overvalued in multiple spots, at least in the first half of the year, possibly all year long. What do you think, Jeff Nadeau?
I'm going to look right into the camera on this one, and I'm going to tell all of you something. Do you know what happens to very public dogs?
They get demolished.
Die. That's what they do. And there's no more public dog than the TikTok clown show at Colorado. You got Deion Sanders, the biggest clown on the planet. I hate Deion Sanders from back when he was a Dallas Cowboy, and I hate him now. That said, we're hearing all of this stuff. His son's this great player. He may be, at Jackson State. Now you got to step up and play a Big 12 team that, went to the Final Four last year. Travis Hunter, nice player. But again, this is a major step up in competition. There's a reason their win total is 4. They're probably not going to be very good, right? And people are desensitized by this because you see them on TikTok and on all these different things. And Deion's a great this and that. But sorry, I can't do it. I have no interest in Colorado here in this spot. I would go the other way.
I think yes, I think you're right. But I'm not going to say mark my words, but I'll tell you what I'm looking for. I'm looking for middle of the season, maybe after their early run of easy games, for TCU to be a good fade for a bunch of games in a row. Perhaps like all of their games after the first 4 or 5. Disagree?
That's an agreeable point as well. Yeah, I think again, this would be similar to like a MAC team stepping up. For as bad as Colorado was, and look, nothing they did last year has any bearing here because most of those players aren't here, but it's just a mindset. It's going to take time to build something. Look, how many players left as well? They had a lot of just issues with people staying there, and it's a big kind of mishigas, if you will, at Colorado.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take time to build there. So I agree with you on that.
All right, so let's examine the rest of the card. I'm just going to shout out some things. Once again, I did bet Temple -10 over Akron, going along with the freaking MAC teams, especially on the road as big dogs. I did bet that one, and the more we talk about it, the closer we get to kickoff, I'm liking it more and more. Let's see other stuff. I mean, I guess we could talk ULM Army. That's a tough one. I think I'm going to pass on that one. Well, we could talk Toledo. Let's talk Toledo, Illinois, just very quickly. We mentioned it before. We don't like to bet on MAC teams as road dogs at this point in the season. Toledo, though, Daquan Finn completely healthy. Have good defense. I agree with you. This is likely to be lower scoring. So I'm leaning.
Peter's connection's cutting out a little bit. That's the joy of
live.
No. Now you're good.
Did you hear it? Did you hear everything I said?
No.
Leaning Toledo and you didn't hear all the now. Okay, leaning Toledo and more so under, and the Illinois team total under.
Yeah, I like the under in this game. If I had to play it, I'd lean under. I didn't get involved with this one, but it kind of screams to me first to 20 wins. I think Finn, again, will have success in conference playing against other similar teams, but stepping up and playing one of the best defenses in America, it's going to have some trouble here, I think. I don't look at Illinois as kind of this upstart, really great, high-flying offense either. I think Toledo is a pretty strong defensive group. I think this is the defensive stalwart type of game, first to 20 wins. I think it's one of the lower scoring games of the card. I like the under personally.
And why not the Illinois team total under, maybe even more, because Toledo's defense, unlike a lot of the MAC, is actually pretty capable, right?
Yeah, I think their defense is pretty good. I think if you're going to rank it, look, you also look at this total, though, at least for me. I mean, I've always had an issue, Peter, betting a number where I could have got a significantly better number, let's say a week ago. Generally when you bet unders, waiting is the game, but not in this one. And then you're going to see it the first couple of weeks of the season.
Yeah, I mean, Toledo had a nice defense last year, both in terms of what happened on the results on the field and their advanced metrics, and a lot of those guys are back. So I will almost certainly be on that, betting appropriately. I'm going to take the Illinois team total under. Right now, it's 27.5 minus 126. Current line at Pinnacle. I will bet that for sure. All right, and then let me see just some other just scanning. What you have anything to say? And if not, that's okay. Buffalo, Wisconsin, because Wisconsin is, they're changing things up offensively. It's not the old Wisconsin of old. Their games are not automatic unders anymore. And Buffalo is just outclassed. I was thinking, I don't know. I saw someone earlier, I think in the comment section, posting Buffalo plus 28, but I was thinking maybe Wisconsin minus 28 even, or team total over, or the Wisconsin first half line. What do you think about that game, if anything?
I think the only people that are betting Buffalo are the people assuming that Wisconsin will maybe struggle a little bit, which is kind of developing this new kind of offense. It's such a major shift. You go from Paul Christ to, Luke Fickell and their new offensive coordinator. I mean, that's a huge scheme change. But Tanner Mordecai, I mean, he's going to be on the front foot. This offense is going to look so much more crisp and fun. Defensively, they're always strong and big up front. And again, I've talked about this, not taking MAC teams in these spots. They just don't play very well a lot of the time. I mean, you got to look back with Miami of Ohio and all these different teams. They just struggle in these games. I'm not a big fan of Buffalo's quarterback, Cole Snyder. Right. Yeah, I lean Wisconsin here myself.
I definitely do. And Tom Leach leans Wisconsin as well. We can talk about a game that I have absolutely no bet on and no opinion on, although I think it's interesting. UNC, South Carolina. In the comments section, we're seeing people loving UNC. We're seeing people loving South Carolina. I guess maybe I'd be leaning over, but then there's been a big move to the under. So this one I'm totally off of and probably will not have a bet at all. You have anything to say about that one?
Lean South Carolina. I just think who's going to get the stop likely? To me, it's South Carolina. North Carolina's always had an issue getting stops. Defensively, they're just not very good ever. I think Spencer Rattler's an interesting name to keep an eye on this year. Shane Beamer's a great coach. That's a team that's kind of good, not great. We don't really know what we're going to get. Look, I don't think they're going to win the SEC or anything, but they're a really interesting team. And Rattler's kind of been resurgent over the last year or two. I like Drake May, don't get me wrong, but to me, it more or less goes to the defenses. Both quarterbacks will move the ball, but South Carolina has a good secondary. They're more likely to get a stop. That's the team I depend on. But I want to get a 3 if I'm going to play it, and I don't know if we're going to see a 3.
Right. You have anything to say about Army ULM? That one is pretty scary. ULM is probably garbage. Almost certainly garbage. I could see it being a lower scoring game, if ULM. I was leaning under. It's an interesting game. There's been a pretty significant move towards ULM, I believe. That's a tough one, Jeff. You can pass on. That's a really tough one if you want to pass.
I like everything about Army until I look at some of the bet percentages. I mean, I think 80% of the actual money is on UL Monroe, which is a bit concerning. Right. Look, This is a team and a game that is played every year, I believe. I think Army plays UL Monroe every year. And I mean, last year they beat them badly. Up in West Point, but I think this is in Monroe this year. Kind of seems a little bit scarier where, maybe UL Monroe can hang around, come through the back door. Army scored 48 last year.
But they changed up their offense now. They're doing a different offense now, so I'm not sure what to think of it.
Yeah, it's a pass for me. I don't think it's one of the better Army teams out there, it's a rough one. I don't know if we just go off what we saw last season. Let me ask you, Purdue. Yeah. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of Some people like Fresno. Some people like Purdue. What about you?
Well, good news and bad news is I pounded the under when it was like 52 or something like that. Bad news is now that it's down to 46.5, I'm sure it sails over. And once again, I'll have a losing ticket going to the corner with some other losing nerds and be like, we were on the right side with all the other smart people. I hit the under pretty big at 52. Pretty big. That's a massive move. Now it's 46.5. The closer we get to kickoff, the more nervous I feel about that under. But I'm not gonna hedge out of it. I don't hedge out of. Go ahead.
I think this is the kind of game books like. I mean, I think you're gonna get pretty solid action on both sides here. But then I look and I say, well, when the rubber meets the road, do I really see Hudson Card and this new defensive stalwart Ryan Walters, the coach of Purdue, lose? At home? I guess I just don't. I mean, look, Fresno's always tough. They're always strong. They always have a good defense, but this isn't Jake Haener-led Fresno. This is a new quarterback, Mikey Keene. I like Purdue. I think they're going to be strong on both sides of the ball. I think Hudson Card was a great pickup by them. I think he'd be one of the better quarterbacks they've had there since Drew Brees, probably. This is an interesting team, Purdue. I really like this team, but I think you're going to see a lot of people like both sides here. I don't think there's a bad selection. I just lean Purdue. I think they're the better team.
Yeah. Free play right now, I would put it on Fresno plus 3.5, but I wouldn't bet that. And I did bet the total at 52, but I would not take it now at 46.5. We'll see where it closes. Don Pla, New Amsterdam, we trust, says, can y'all please go over a Liberty game, please? Yeah, we went over that earlier. That's one I identified. I like Bowling Green. Well, I bet Bowling Green. The closer we get to kickoff, the more I'm feeling nervous about it. Of course, we've been talking all show long about like how atrocious MAC teams are, especially early in the season on the road as dogs. And Liberty is not a team where it's like, well, even an exception for them because they fuck up home favorite situations. They don't. They're great early in the year as a home favorite historically. Some reasons not to like them as much this year as years past, but yeah, it's the closer we get to kickoff, the more I'm feeling very nervous about my Bowling Green bet. Big man, you want to rehash anything you said about that game?
No, I think you should feel pretty good about it. I think it's a good spot. You got a good number. You have a team that I think is going to keep on the front foot. And if they're down 10, they're going to, or down 14, they're going to try to score. They like to throw the ball there. I think it's a good one. I really do. And look, by the way, someone in the comments says best since Breeze. Yikes. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Peter, or anybody in the chat, does anyone remember just a extremely transcendent quarterback at Purdue over the last 20 years? I can't say I did. So I'm going to say the bar's not that high, Will. But I want to ask you, Peter, another early game is Michigan and East Carolina. Okay.
Oh, God. Barely even thought about it. Might be leaving money on the table, but barely even thought about it. That line, go ahead.
I'll put this out there for you. Go look at Michigan over the last year or two in non-conference games. They have fucking pulverized every team they played. And this is an ECU of last year. They lost their quarterback, a 4-year player. They lost their best offensive player in Keaton Mitchell. They lost their best defender in Malik Fleming. This is a team that ECU, now you got to go to Michigan on top of it. Here's what I'm going to play, though, and I'm going to have a smaller plan. There's nothing crazy. Why is this total 52? Michigan always hits 50 in these games. I mean, are they going to shut out ECU? I don't think. I could see this being 51-7. I really could. 52-10. I could see that. 40.
I think you might be. What about a first half over or a first half team total over? Let me just define what that would be right now.
30, what do we got? 30-ish.
The first half total is 29.5. Michigan first half team total 25.5.
This kind of screams 38 or 38-7, 35-0. Michigan will roll. They have one of the best offenses in America. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, this is why I'm not a professional capper, because I barely thought about that game, let alone made a bet on it. Now, as soon as the show's over, I'm going to pound the hell out of the first half over and maybe the first half team total over as well for Michigan.
I'm putting stuff on your wavelength. Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as and see, here you go. This is why I'm off at full game. Billy Friedrich, I'm confidently taking ECU and the points. Right above that, we have Alan Action saying Michigan steamrolls ECU, take them all around first quarter, first half, etc. Those
Hey,
are two comments. Go ahead.
let me throw another one out to you here. Another big number, but this is a game where, like, if I'm looking at a big underdog today, I'm talking 5 touchdowns or more. I was impressed at what I saw out of UMass in week 1. I thought they looked really solid. I mean, if you'd have told me they'd have won, I'd have thought you were crazy. They're getting 5 touchdowns today against Auburn, who, we know how Auburn was really poor last season. New coach. They've got kind of a new day down at that group. I mean, they could obviously win this by 40. I mean, they're significantly better talent-wise, but I was impressed with UMass. You just maybe it's first half, they're going to hang around and not be knocked down big, and they'll get crushed in the second half. What do you think?
I was actually on UMass last week, and I haven't bet this one yet. And after the move, I probably shouldn't, although I probably will. But I'm definitely leaning UMass plus 35. Although betting it after that big move is massively negative Eve or whatever, just ill-advised. But I'll probably do it anyway. But no, I agree with you. I was definitely thinking about UMass before the move. Didn't pull the trigger on it. Still thinking about it despite the move.
Do you look at any added games? Any added games that you have?
The FCS, if I have time, I do, but I haven't this week. Can we talk very quickly about Boise, Washington, because that's one people are asking about. I did bet Boise at 14. The line hasn't moved, and once again, the closer we get to kickoff, the more I'm thinking I'm on the wrong side there.
Yeah, I have a hard time with this side in this game because it does seem a bit too high to me. Look, I love Washington. Look, they had one of the best offenses in America last season, and I don't think that's going to change much this year. This team can move the football. It's that simple. I think they struggle both sides, these teams, defensively. I think it's back and forth, 2 good quarterbacks. When Boise inserted Taylor Green last year, Peter, they were a totally different offense. They were putting, 35, 40 a game up. I kind of lean over in this one. I know it's come down a bit. It seems a lot like UTSA Houston. I think you see first to 30, first to 35 wins. I think it's a good game. This would be a fun one to watch.
Billy Ray Valentine says totally different level of competition with Auburn. UMass will get smashed. And you do see that a lot where it's like a team like UMass that kind of sucks, but they play, they give it all against a team that they know they can be competitive against. And then they go up against the team that they're, outclassed by. And because of that, don't even give 100%. And then they get smashed and score 0 points. And the other team scores whatever they want.
Absolutely happen. But, Auburn wasn't exactly a world beater and haven't been a world beater, but I get his point. It's not one that I bet. It's an intriguing one. As far as the added board, I'll just throw something out there. This is a late night game. I think Arizona is going to fucking pulverize Northern Arizona. Arizona is not a good team, but they're going to be a good offensive team. Jaden Delora is dynamic. That offense is good. Okay. I think they're going to kind of hamstring Northern Arizona. The changing class here is huge. I mean, even last season, Arizona State beat Northern Arizona, I think, by 40. I think this one's a 45-0 type of game.
Okay, that sounds. I've written that down, and I will probably tail that. Ross Pitt says, "I think all the favorites covered today. That's my opinion. All MAC teams will lose against the spread, so that's not good for me. Although it is good for the Akron game, but for Bowling Green and the other one I'm on, that's not good. Oh shit, here we go. Billy Ray Valentine says, "Facts, Jeff," and Robert Franklin says, "I agree. Arizona smash." I'm going to write that. I already wrote it down, and I tailed it. Let's see what else do we have to say. Yeah, Bronny Imbergia says Boise program taking a step back. I don't trust them in this spot against Washington. I don't either. It might even be one of those games where it's like close and then Washington runs away. What happened? And then let me see. One interesting thing that we can talk about in a second from the comments section here. Of course, one of the best bets in all of college football used to be Alabama first half. I'm not on them against Middle Tennessee, though, and Will Hildebrand likes Middle Tennessee first half plus 24.
Yeah, that's a pretty astute play by that individual, Will. I think, it's hard this year at Alabama, they just named the starting quarterback. We'll have to wait and see what we get out of him, but Stock's still a pretty good coach. Remember last year, they beat Miami, Middle Tennessee. Now, that didn't turn out to be that great, but, Yeah, I agree with that. That's a lot of points. I think it could take some time for Alabama. They've got Texas kind of on the purview next week. I don't know. It'll matter much in the first half, though. Yeah, I think it's a good one. I kind of like the full game as well. That's a little too many points. Someone says, anybody know if Rourke is playing for Ohio? I don't believe he is. He had a pretty bad injury last week. Someone also says, I like Incarnate Word plus 6.5 against UTEP. Peter, Incarnate Word again, I believe, is a top 10 team, even after they lost their coach. That might be a good one.
Sure. No question about it. Absolutely. All right, let's do a very, very quick review. Once again, Jeff Nadeau, big man on campus, likes Arizona to smash tonight, and some people in the comments section who have followed that agree with him. Our boy Noli Knows told us that he likes the under in Northern Illinois, Boston College. That line hasn't really moved. That makes me like it maybe a little bit more. People saying that Kentucky is going to roll Ball State. Fresno State, Purdue is an interesting one. A big move to the under, and not sure if I would personally tail it. Bowling Green, Liberty, let's not even talk about it. Michigan to roll Eastern Carolina, we've talked about. Go ahead, big man.
Nah, man, you're funny about some of these lines as far as you feel so pessimistic on them. Here's what I want to say, though, Peter, just to interrupt. You and I think we have a good one with Colorado State. I think we do. I think we have a good play there.
Yes, and I still agree with it, even at 9.5, and I think I'm liking the under as well. And the Washington State team total under at 33.5. I would say my top plays today, definitely the Washington State team total under. I like the Illinois team total under as well. I think I like Temple minus 10, even though it's a big line. Let's see, what else do we got here? What else is going? Yeah, UTSA just to win outright. Can't say that that's not a very nice play. And Penn State to roll first half, full game, and maybe even better, West Virginia team total under 14.5 minus 126. That's another play I'm liking, a top play there. All my other plays I'm feeling very nervous about or going to hedge out after them right after the show is over. Big man on campus, what's your best 1, 2, or 3 or whatever plays as of right now as we sit here 11 a.m. on September 2nd?
Well, I think it'd be only fair to start with this one. I mean, we are at a company that is based in San Antonio, and I like the Roadrunners today to win against Houston. That's a play that I mentioned I like. I'll tell you 2 other ones I'm interested in. Kentucky. I think they pulverize Ball State. I really like that angle of fading the MAC. I also, right out of the gate, ECU, Michigan. I just think that total's too low. I think Michigan's 45-50 on the docket. I just don't think ECU gets shut out. I like the over a little bit there. You mentioned Arizona. That's going to be a play I make. I'm not going to go full unit on it just because it's a FCS FBS, but yeah, I like that one. And I'm going to tell you on Colorado State, I think that's a good one. I think Bowling Green, I think you have a good one there as well. You got to, Peter, got to be optimistic, bro.
Yes, absolutely. I know I am optimistic. Let me see. Dan Kelly says if Washington State scores first, I will get on Colorado State live. Yeah, I mean live betting. A lot of these angles is you kind of wait until to see if something goes against you, and then you live bet it, and if it doesn't, you just let it go. Dabby Cab, huge shout out to Dabby Cab. Also liking UTSA. That's great to see. Coastal Carolina. We didn't talk about that game. He likes them first half, and Clemson. First half -7 and full game -12.5. Agreeing with Jeff Nadeau's general take on that game as well. Shout out to Dabby Cab. Maybe I'll tail you guys on Clemson. And let 2112 saying, Jeff, what do you think about Western Kentucky first half? Any opinion?
We talk about that one. I don't really trust them in a favorite role. I just don't. I think when you bet West Kentucky, you just have to say, I'm just going to bet on them to score. That's all I want to worry about because that defense is generally not good. I think they'll move the ball. South Florida can't stop anybody. So I would look at 21-12 more at a team total of some sort in that game. And that's, I think, kind of what, Peter, you were thinking about as well.
Mm-hmm. Here's another one I might tail. You listening, big man on campus? Dan Kelly says, Hoosiers always play Buckeyes tough at home.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Dan Kelly, I love you, but I'm going to tell you that they don't. Dan Kelly, 4 of the last 5 in this series have been decided by 40 or more points. Ohio State fucking pulverizes Indiana. And remember, the only one that they didn't, Michael Penix was the quarterback in Indiana. He ain't there anymore. I don't agree with that. I love Dan Kelly, but I don't agree with that.
It's like Hagler Hearns there for like 30 seconds. Right now, I don't know. Now I don't know what to do. Dan Kelly earlier even posted. I don't know if he was kidding or not. He even posted Indiana money line for a team bet as far as
Dan Kelly.
Maybe he was kidding.
Fan, isn't he, of that team?
I don't know. No. Dan Kelly is a.
Peter. I got one other thing on Indiana. Here's why you can't bet Indiana today. I'll tell you why. Peter, at the press conference for Media Day, Big Ten Media Day, Brett McMurphy asked every coach who their favorite band or singer was.
Mm-hmm.
The coach in Indiana said his favorite band was Mercy Me. Do you know what that is?
Probably some, I don't know. It's probably some Gen Z.
No, they're like a goofy Christian rock band. You can't say Mercy Me. No. Come on, dude. No.
Maybe they do rock out. I'd have to hear a couple of songs first before I made a final decision on that.
Well, they're not ska, put it that way.
Wow, Dan Kelly getting a lot of pushback. Lucas R. says Ohio State first quarter hammer it. Melvin Betances says Ohio State will smack them up. Lucas R. says my Buckeyes kill. Wow, so Dan Kelly getting it from all sides. We'll see how it turns out. If there's anyone who can hang like that with an opinion, it's Dan Kelly. Go ahead.
I think on that note, it's a good time to wrap it up, Peter. I'm excited.
Yeah, let's wrap it up because I'd be here forever. All right. This was a great show, a lot of fun. We even managed to sneak in a few jokes. We didn't actually make any official list of picks, but we talked about the picks and the lines. Maybe we'll start tracking them somehow. Next week, we will be back right here at Pub Sports Radio, 10 a.m. Eastern time for Week 2 college football. I had a great time. I'm going to be looking forward to this all week. See you next week. Jeff Nadu, Big Man on Campus.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.